those of you who know me know I never back down from a challenge, and I never turn down an interview. I like interviews. I think they're fun, even with people I disagree with, especially if they're with other media outlets I disagree with. I never say no to an interview. This has been my thing ever since I first got involved in politics. Even when I first was just a community activist, before I ran for office, before anything else. When I was running for office in 2019, The Stranger, which is Seattle's far-left rag, I became their punching bag. They said, we can get content out of this guy by demonizing him on a regular basis. And they did. I used it to fundraise for my campaign. Because anytime they wrote something bad about me, put it in an email, send it out, piece of cake, easy. So as much as they were getting clicks off me, I was getting donations off them. That's the game, by the way. Now, something that happened towards the end was they kept coming back for more. More and more and more and more. Because they hadn't had enough and they had nothing else to get clicks off of. Once I was out of the race, there weren't that many interesting candidates anymore, and I think they realized they killed their golden goose, for lack of a better word. So what happened? They had nobody left to pick on, so they kept picking on me. When I was running for office, my family got anti-Semitic death threats. These things were posted on social media. These things were called out by national organizations. These things were investigated by the FBI and the Seattle Police Department. The Seattle Stranger is the only outlet that asked me to prove that it happened. Because they didn't want to acknowledge that it actually happened. That's how biased they are. In fact, nobody on the left wanted to acknowledge it actually happened. Meanwhile, Cairo 7 broke the story. Como, King 5, all of them. Fox 13, they all covered this because it was out on the internet for anybody to see. In fact, it was picked up by an internet watchdog group that monitors hate sites. They're the ones that broke the story. But rather than going to the source, they came to me to see if it was actually true. I found out about the death threats from that site and from a note on my house from the SPD FBI task force. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. No, they were trying to reach me because I was offline for a Jewish holiday when all this happened. The Stranger then decided it was a good idea to mock the death threats on me and my family. They did that in their election guide, even when I was already out of the race. At that moment, I decided, you know what, I really don't need to do anything with The Stranger ever again. I'll just ignore him. And you know what, nobody reads it anyway, so who cares? Now, I didn't know I was going to become a radio host. I didn't want to know I was going to become a media figure. And I haven't really heard from The Stranger since. Haven't heard from them at all. Until the King County elections asked me to once again write a statement opposing a tax that is coming out because for some reason, Republicans never show up for the fight. They asked me to write a statement in opposition of the Families Education Preschool and Promise Levy renewal. What this thing is a $1.3 billion tax, which is going to expand and replace an existing tax. And what they are going to do with this existing tax is they are going to use it to funnel more money into the public school system, which will be a colossal failure because there's no accounting for the money whatsoever. So I got reached out to by Natalie Graham from The Stranger. Natalie Graham was the reporter who used to bash me all the time, one of the ones who mocked the death threats against me and my family. But I said, you know what, maybe there's something in this. I spoke to Mr. KVI, I spoke to Mike, I spoke to everybody. I said, you know what, yeah, maybe there's something worth this. We'll get some content for the show at the very, very least. So I replied, yeah, I'm more than happy to do the interview. Can we move it because of a Jewish holiday? And can I record the thing? I got back a yes, which I was shocked by. Shocked that I got back the yes. So we set up the thing, and this was supposed to be yesterday. Yesterday I show up, got the recorder running, the screen capture running, ready to record the Zoom meeting that we're having. And then The Stranger comes right out with it and starts a debate. Number one, they never told me this was going to be a debate of any kind of me and the other side, or I would have prepped differently. Number two, they said at the outset, no recording whatsoever. Why would you do that? So I challenged them and I said, wait, guys, I accepted this on condition that I could record it because you guys are not journalists and you guys have a tendency to twist words. I didn't say the last part out loud, but that's what's running through my mind. I'm still trying to be somewhat nice. I said, whoa, wait. You said I could record this thing. And they said, no, that wasn't the agreement. Natalie Graham, I don't know which one was which. There's like 5 of them on a camera. I don't even know what they look like. But didn't seem like it was Natalie Graham was the one saying, no, we would never say something like that. Natalie Graham, the coward that she is, never stepped up and said, oh, that may have been a miscommunication. No, I didn't get an email till afterwards. Oh, that was a miscommunication. Sure, like I believe you. These aren't actual journalists. So there I am debating the other side, and my main focal point of this thing is you guys have so much money for public education, you misspend it, and the studies that were done on this thing show mismanagement, show that the money wasn't spent effectively, and show that this thing has not had an actual impact on education. Now you're asking to renew it. So we did this for a while. And afterwards, I get the apology. Sorry for the miscommunication. Well, if it was a miscommunication, why'd you announce the no recording right at the outset? I'm suspicious of that. My other favorite point was when I said I didn't know this was going to be a debate, and they said it's an endorsement meeting. Like that's supposed to mean something? I've done this with the Seattle Times. I've done this with other outlets in town, and it's just you presenting your ideas. When it's going to be a debate with the other side, they tell you it's going to be a debate with the other side. Let's be clear. The Stranger, they're not journalists. They were doing what they always do. They wanted me for clicks. They want to get the clicks out of this so they can demonize Ari Hoffman because they saw an opportunity to do it again. And stupid me gave them the opportunity. Because I thought to myself, let's try to be nice. Maybe they're trying to mend fences. Maybe they're trying to make up a little bit. Maybe they're trying to actually engage in good faith because they just fired a whole bunch of people from their staff. Maybe they're turning over a new leaf. I should have known better. So I put the question out to all of you. If I get contacted by the Stranger again, should I actually do the interview, or is it not even worth my time? What do you think? Give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. My favorite part of this discussion, they brought up the pandemic. I don't remember if it was the Stranger or the people who are in favor of this tax. They brought up loss of learning during the pandemic, and I said, if you want to fix loss of learning during the pandemic, why don't you tell your teachers unions that you support all the time that they shouldn't have kept the kids out of school for 2 years and that they should add time to the school calendar and that they should add hours in the school day so that the kids can make up the lost learning. Instead, you guys just decide to move on. And then it was, oh, no, we don't want to discuss the pandemic. We don't want to relitigate the pandemic. Then at the end, there was something funny where they almost forgot to discuss school safety. And they had mentioned something about school safety in the closing arguments. And then when they said, no, we'll discuss that offline. What, you afraid of me mentioning that you guys banned all the cops? And that when you say school safety, you don't actually mean school safety, and this is probably just going to go to DEI classes or something else like this? This was one of the biggest bleep shows I have ever seen in politics. This was an absolute disaster. But it shows what the Stranger is and why they don't even bother printing the thing anymore, because nobody reads it. It's an absolute disaster. Forrest Cat says over on the studio line, Stranger who? Exactly right. You know, I'm willing to engage with anybody who wants to engage in good faith, but use deceptive practices to get the interview with me. I'm flattered. I'm flattered you wanted the interview so bad that you agreed to everything I said and then catfished me, basically. That's basically what you did. Am I sore about this? Nope. Just got a whole segment of radio content about this, was I'll be sure to post over on social media. But also, at the same time, I wish people had been able to see that interview. They would have seen I destroyed them. See, right here, Jeff and Kent. Agree to do the interview, then wipe the floor with them. That's what I did, and I was hoping to share it all with you. What I'm most disappointed about is not the deceptive tactics that they used. But I'm disappointed that you don't get to see me wipe the floor with them, because I said at the outset, my opening statement after all this was, I know you're never going to back this. I know this isn't the real deal. I know no matter what I say, you are going to support this tax, and you will never not support a tax. I wish I could have posted that. But unfortunately, now you never get to see it because the Stranger are dishonest brokers.